How's it going, everybody? It's WrongTime here, and today I'm bringing you another Storytime with WrongTime video. And yes, I do know that this is the same clip as I have been using the last two times. Hopefully next time around I'll have something different to see, so you don't just see this guy dancing in his pants. Alright, now let's begin. This one is called Soldiers of Silver, which is about a fantasy world like Skyrim and stuff like that, although I tried to keep it not like that. And they're like a group of mercenaries and stuff, but whatever, you'll know when I get into it. Alright. Chapter 1. Reginald Stafford was sitting around the campfire with his brother, Terrence Stafford, and his friend, Carlos Reed. They were out on a hunt for deer. None of them were a day over 13. "Hey, Reginald, finally learned to properly track a deer this time? Or are we going to find a bundle of mushrooms for the spoils again?" asked Terrence in a sarcastic tone. "No, this time I've got this tracking thing locked down. There's no way this deer is getting away from us," said Reginald. "So, that makes this any different than last time?" said Carlos, through a mouthful of bread. "We're just sitting here in the middle of the night with a fire going. Shouldn't we be trying to find it instead? Well, if you could see an animal's trail in the pitch of darkness, you be sure to let me know. Otherwise, we'll start looking in the morning." They all agreed on that logic eventually, and took a nap in their bear pelt sleeping bags. Early in the morning, and when I say early, I mean early, as in the sun was just cracked over the horizon, they woke up and began tracking a deer. Well, trying to track one. They couldn't find an evidence of deer anywhere. Carlos spoke up. "You sure that we're in the right field, right?" "Of course I am. What kind of tracker do you take me for?" said Reginald. He had no idea where they were. Eventually, they heard screaming coming from somewhere deep in the dark forest. "What was that?" said Carlos. "Well, obviously it was someone screaming, you dolt," said Terrence rudely. "I figured that, but why?" "It sounded like it came from a conveniently shaded forest that symbolizes evil, darkness, and death." "Let's nosedive right into it," screamed Reginald, pointing his bow towards the forest. "Yeah, man," screamed Carlos. "Near-death scenarios are my thing. I eat death's paintbrush for breakfast." You shut up, Carlos. You're doing that pretentious thing where you over-exaggerate again, lectured Terrence. "Sorry. Wait, so are we going or not? Why are we just standing here talking about going, but not going? Chances are that woman's gone by now, unless she screams again." There was another scream. "Whoa! Wait a minute. Did you just assume their gender?" exclaimed Terrence. "Are you serious, bro? For all we know, they could be a genderless fish rock hybrid thing, and you assume they're a woman? You sicken me." "Shut up, Terrence," exclaimed Reginald. "We're still just sitting in the middle of the forest at the crack of dawn." "Heh, crack," said Carlos. "Now's not the time for your toilet and or drug humor, Carlos. Now we're going to march right into the forest, save this unclarified gender person, and walk out heroes. Now who's with me?" "Why are we even trying to do this, Reginald?" asked Terrence. "Shouldn't we just get the guards or something? The city's only 5 minutes away. In fact, why did we even sleep outside?" Hold on, there we go. "Because this is a story, Terrence," shouted Reginald. "We do things to make reckless actions look good, and then the author can win against lawsuits when someone's mother tries to sue them. Because our son thought it was a good idea to ditch his weapons and fight a bear with his fists in an honorable duel. Oh, that reminds me. As Reginald finishes his sentence, a disclaimer appears over the scene. Attention! It is unwise to fight bears with your bare hands. Doing so can result in dismemberment, mutilation, death, reverse puberty, possible moon lasers shooting at Hawaii because everyone knows they made bears, volcanic eruptions caused by stupidity of said action, and bad bear puns." "Wasn't that educational?" said Reginald. "Now let's go find this person." 20 minutes of bare-fisted combat against bears and making dumb puns. Our three heroes finally find the source of the screaming. It was a genderless rockfish hybrid shrieking in astonishment while her papier-mâché significant other, no, I don't know the gender and I'm not about to ask, proposes to them. "I'd think this would be precious, but why here, in the dark forest?" started Carlos. "Because everybody knows that the papier-mâché flytrap is the siren of the forest." "Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. But a papier-mâché thingy is not actually proposing to you, but instead luring you so that it can absorb you. Yeah, it latches onto you and forms a connection before trying to eat you. Risky business. Could get leashed of all your money. Benefit of being papier-mâché, though, is that you can be anything she wants you to. so it's hard to say no. Well, shouldn't we do something then? Asked Carlos. What? And disrupt the natural order? Nah, we should just watch, said Terrence. Man, you are really cynical and kind of a weenie to be around. Why? Because the author made me a one-dimensional character with 0 redeemable factors. Do you hear me now, WrongTime? Sorry, let me just... And then... Perfect. Oh, boy, I feel different. Hey, quit staring at me. You're making me nervous. I get violent when I'm nervous. Where'd it go? Hold on. There we go. Terrence punches Carlos and Reginald square in the nose. Oh no, did I do that? I'm sorry, guys, I didn't want to. He just made me nervous. Terrence timidly backs away and hides behind a tree, while slowly trying to get more comfortable around Reginald and Carlos, while the two of them peel themselves off the ground and pop their noses back into place. All while a papier-mâché thingy eats a genderless rockfish hybrid. Well, I'd say we've got a monster to fight now, boys, yelled Reginald, and began firing arrows at the now ginormous papier-mâché titan. Why didn't we just kill it before it upgraded itself, asked Carlos, now grabbing his axe while Terrence cowers behind a tree, rocking back and forth while having a death grip on his spear. That would have been too easy, my friend. Besides, now all of the money that filthy rich fish thing had, so now we can take it while remaining morally incorrect. Ah, I love loopholes. Carlos gave Reginald a suspicious look, then started hacking away at the papier-mâché beast. He manages to cleave off an arm, which goes flying towards Terrence, and gives him so big of a shock that he snaps and goes flying towards the papier-mâché giant and stabs it repeatedly in the knee. So violently, that it ends up cleaving its calf from its thigh. When the beast crashes to the ground with an echoing thud, he dives onto its face and begins burrowing himself into its diluted eyes. It's okay. If this were a real monster, it'd be grotesque of what just happened to him. But it's a papier-mâché, so it's fine. Hold on. There we go. After about 5 minutes of listening to Terrence rip through this thing's insides and scream violently, a sudden jingle of coins can be heard. Terrence had found a sack of silver from a rockfish's leftovers, as well as a pile of empty clothes. He then proceeds to cut open the monster's stomach and climb out, still breathing heavily and violently. Reginald tells Carlos to get the sack away from Terrence, and he does, but not without getting punched in the nose again. Carlos tosses it to Reginald and snaps his nose back into place once again while Reginald looks into the sack. Hey guys! Well, Carlos, started Reginald, as Terrence sprinted back towards a tree he was originally hiding behind. This purse was 5,000 gold in it. We can officially buy a house. Cool. Where are we going to buy it? I'm thinking Fransworth. Nice populated city. Actually, I have an idea. Let's buy a house, but turn that into a mercenary business instead. That could be our headquarters. What do you say? I like it. We made some nice cash from that monster, said Carlos. And I agree too, since the author is making me, said Terrence shakily. It's settled then. The Farnsworth. What's our name going to be? Asked Carlos. I'm thinking the Soldiers of Silver. It sounds nice, and it makes sense in my opinion. I don't like it. It sounds pretentious, said Carlos. I don't understand what it means, shouted Terrence, before receiving a stern look from Reginald and climbing back behind the tree. I don't care. That's our name, and I'm sticking with it, since that's the title, and it would be aggravating if WrongTime had to change the title just because one of you don't like it. I could also erase you from existence, too. Yeah, that too. So that's our name. It doesn't matter what you two think. Alright, before I go to Chapter 2, I'd like to clarify. Yes, I made a narrator character in this story, and yes, he is, a bodily... He exists in the story. I forgot to, clarify that in the beginning. Alright, Chapter 2. Hey, Carlos, is anybody coming in yet? Asked Reginald, while he sets up a map in the now officially named planning room. Nah, just a squirrel who stole our almonds. A few days pass before they get a customer. An old woman walks in, asking Carlos, who was at the desk, if she could get some help. Oh, hello there, Sonny, she started. I need some strong young men to help get my baby goat out of a tree. Ah, yes, we'll get you help immediately, said Carlos calmly, despite almost leaking with excitement. He gets up and walks around the corner. When he knows the old woman can't see him, he sprints to go find Reginald. We just got our first customer, Reggie, Carlos quietly screams. Really? That's great news. The two of them jump up and down like a couple giddy schoolgirls. "What did you charge her? I came to get you first," Carlos said. "Well, go. She's probably still there. Old women generally don't walk too speedy." Carlos comes back around the corner, walking calmly around it, despite breathing heavily from sprinting to find Reginald. "All right, we have somebody ready to help you get your goat out of a tree. That'll be 5 bronze. Oh, I should also probably tell you, 100 bronze is worth 1 silver, and 1 silver is worth 100 gold, or 100 silver." Just to clarify. Come on, there we go. Alright. "Oh, thank you, dear." She didn't call him dear as in child, but deer as in animal. She had taken the doctor prescribed potion, and now... Come on, there we go. She had taken the doctor prescribed potion, and now is in... I can't find my spot again. There we go. She had taken her doctor prescribed potion, so she was seeing things. "Here's my money." She threw a handful of orange peelings at Carlos's face, to his surprise, and then proceeded to ask her for the right currency. 5 bags of produce later, she finally threw 5 bronze out of process of elimination. And Carlos put the cash in a treasure chest underneath the desk and locked it. Then went to Reginald to wake up Terence carefully. They had set up a contraption that involves tickling the end of his nose with a feather, resulting in him waking up without a violent outburst when When Terence woke up, they told him that they got their first job, and he leapt out of his bed with excitement. They were so energized with adrenaline from finally getting work that they were ready in 3 minutes when normally would have taken 15 or more. They met the old woman at her house. Oh God, where am I? Well, I just totally lost myself. Alright, there we go. Alright. I don't like computers sometimes. There we go. And found a baby goat stuck in a tree. They were confused, but didn't ask any questions. They pulled out a ladder from their carriage and they had bought to bring on contracts that involve heavier equipment, and that it usually is about fetching something rather than murder, and began climbing up the tree to get the goat. The old woman was very pleased and could be heard moaning to herself, and then they noticed the goat was leashed to the tree. Carlos looked at the old woman and followed her gaze straight to Reginald's rear end, of which she had a perfect perspective of. She was checking him out. Uncomfortable about what was happening, Carlos passed Reginald a knife and cut off the leash, and got the goat down quickly and left. While they were riding the horse carriage back to the Soldiers of Silver headquarters, they were all deathly silent. Reginald was pleased about an honest day's work, while Carlos was embarrassed by the recent turn of events, and Terence was too terrified of the old woman to even notice what was happening. Reginald breaks the silence a few minutes later. "Well, looks like today was an honest day's work. It was pretty strange, though, that a goat was tied up in a tree. At least the old lady seemed pleased about it, though." They parked their carriage and head inside to find a man standing worrisomely in front of the main desk. "Hey, do you 3 work here?" the man asked hurriedly. "Yes, we do, good sir. What seems to be the issue?" Reginald asked in his fake hero voice. "My wife has gone out to hunt a deer, and she's gone missing. I need help." "Absolutely, sir. Now, if you look in the front desk, you can see what we charge for our services. It reads, hunt for you for 45 bronze, farming help for 30 bronze, security escort for 1 silver and 20 bronze, personal guard duty for 1 silver and 10 bronze, finding a missing person for 3 silver, eliminating dangerous monsters for 10 silver, and the last one, and it's a big one, support in a battle for 5 gold. Yes, here's my silver. Now please go find my wife. At once. Where was she last reported? She went hunting out in the forest with screaming eagles. Sounds dangerous. Do you know anything about these screaming eagles? All I know is that they are stereotypically obese people with eagle heads that run around with magic sticks. Sorry about that. The time recording cut out. Alright, where was I? Alright. Alright, all I know is that they are stereotypically obese people with eagle heads that run around with magic staves that every spell is that of death, and end with a crash of thunder and a puff of smoke. Truly dark magic. Oh, and watch out for their malls. They do enjoy themselves some t-shirts with those joke pictures on them. Truly horrendous monstrosities that must be destroyed. Carlos! Terrence! We're heading out for the forest of the screaming eagles. We know, said Carlos. We're literally 10 inches directly behind you. You haven't gotten out of the doorway yet. And the draft is starting to make the hairs on my back stand on end. Ah, quit making excuses, Carlos. It's time for us to grab our horses anyway. Alright, and that's that. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I seem to be doing these a lot more frequently. I've been doing these pretty much exclusively now. That I should probably fix that. Yeah, if you enjoyed it, leave a like and, well, share it or subscribe because it really helps with my channel. And if you do like it, hopefully I'll see you in another video. Alright, and see you later.